VET S.O.S podcast. My name is Shawn Welsh. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm flying solo today. My co-host is not able to make it to the event today. Honored, though, to be here today with our commanders and chiefs, if you will, Al and Carol. Very excited to sit down and talk with you and learn a little bit about the VFW vision and what the VFW is doing for transition and things like that. But before we get into that, I just want to make sure that everybody in the audience, everybody watching online, you don't have to adjust anything. I really am this large of a mammal sitting in this tiny little chair. I look like Gulliver on Gulliver's Travels, and I get it. So it's all right. But you don't have to adjust anything. It's all good. So my podcast is focused on the military transition space and how educating service members on how they can transition, different resources they have. So before we get into any questions, really, I want to know about your transition out of the military. So we're going to start with you, Al. I know it was only a couple of years ago. So, if you tell us, how'd your transition out of the military go?
Yeah, so I shared with you right before that General Washington attended my retirement ceremony. So I'm a little long in the tooth, but typical of the day. I left the service in 1979, and my transition was, there's the door. Don't let it hit you in the rear end on your way out. That was my discharge. And we've certainly grown, and we're being much more effective now because we understand that transition is key to their families, to their future employment, and so they need to be prepared when they get out. And so I will say that the military is doing a much better job. And we want them to continue to do that. But again, that didn't bother me. Again, I'm an infantry soldier, so I just got out. It's okay. I'll go find my way.
There you go, and go back in if you have to, right?
Yes, sir.
There you go. All right.
Right after the women and the children, they might take me.
Absolutely. And we got, just so everybody knows, we got 3 Army personnel up here on stage. So it's definitely Army heavy. And we can forget all those Marine comments that we heard earlier on the show. Forget all that. We're going to stick with the Army here. So, Carol, how about you? How was your transition out of the military?
Well, I actually joined in 1977. I was a WAC, Women's Army Corps. And I came off of active duty in 1980, and it was similar to what Al experienced. It was, we'll see you. I was at the discharge station in Fort Devens, Massachusetts, but the retention NCO got a hold of me and convinced me to stay in. It is better now, but it can still be improved, of course, for what the military needs. We teach them how to go to war. We don't teach them how to come home necessarily. And now we've got the BDD sites, the benefits delivery at discharge sites that are so necessary to help those transitioning soldiers, sailors, airmen for their benefits. And we need more BDD sites to make sure that they get what they deserve, what they earned. And so it is improving quite a bit from when Al and I were in, thankfully.
Well, absolutely. And then those sites are going to be huge. Myself, I just retired 2 years ago. I think a year after you did, Al, but 2 years ago, but amazed by the different number of resources that are out there. And my father retired, I think, 1993, I think is when he retired. And he was amazed by the difference in, what was available to myself in this generation versus when he came out. So we're definitely making huge strides there. So as far as the transition process goes, how is the VFW involved in the transition? Which ways can they help that whole transition process happen?
Well, I think the best way that we can help them is through, again, continuing to show them that they're not alone, that there's a family out there for them. You know how we can pass each other on the street, and we may not know each other, we've never met. Yet when we look each other in the eyes, we know each other. There's that inexplicable bond that, especially among combat veterans,
Yes.
it's just there. But our post, getting involved within the communities, is helping that transition as well. It's an outlet. It's an outlet.
Absolutely. How about you, Carol?
Well, and we have a fairly new program, a new hashtag that we call Still Serving. And it's been such a tremendous boost for us, for the VFW, because that's what we do. We are still serving. We are still in our communities doing what we need to help our fellow veterans, our fellow community members. That's what we do. You know, we have never stopped. And so that, you know, that is crucial for a lot of communities. We are their only source of, a place to go sometimes. And there should be a place for military people to go so they can share their stories and share their experiences.
Oh, absolutely. And just this event here is absolutely fantastic. This is the first time I've been able to make it to the national convention, and being able to walk around and see the different vendors and things that are out here was fantastic. But I think what surprised me the most was all the different VFW and VA booths specifically, and all the different programs that those two organizations alone have. And the one that really sticks out for me when I look at it from the transition side of the house is, because the transition part to me, I think also directly impacts our recruiting,
Right.
you know, with this younger generation coming in. And, I was raised pretty much on a bar stool, and, that's how I came up, and I don't mind going to the bar and telling stories and drinking and what have you. But this generation may be a little different. There's some that don't necessarily do that. And I saw this gaming stuff over there, and that was fascinating to me that there's such a push there. So along those lines, what other things is the VFW maybe influencing, the video game side, and to try to help with the recruiting and then reaching, these younger generations as they come out?
Go ahead.
We are one of the biggest advocates on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. And there are so many people out there that are excited about making sure that we have those legislative rights and not taken away from us. And I got involved in that several years ago. It is the way we get our business done. It's how we get everything done. Congress controls everything for us, our charter, our eligibility, how we do our business. So for the younger people to be out there to see that, the Forever GI Bill, the VFW was directly responsible for that. The PACT Act, the VFW was on the steps doing that. And that's how we're taking care of the next generation. And we want them to see that we're not just sitting in that smoky bar anymore. We are out there advocating for every veteran, not just combat veterans, but every veteran.
So again, I go back a couple of years. So our gaming, when I played Army, I was playing Army outside in my yard. That was my entertainment. That was my fun. But the gaming it's really allowing individuals to get together in a positive way, in things that they enjoy and let off that steam. When you get out of the service, there is a transition, and if you ask a service member who's recently left the service, how are you doing? The answer is, I'm fine, which we know is code for I'm not doing so well. Yeah, but we don't want to admit it. I'm okay. No, you're not. And so the help is here. Help's here.
And I think you both hit on something that's very important to this whole thing. One side is definitely the legislative side of the house. There's so many things that we can do to make sure that we maintain our benefits. We get new benefits. We get those things that are going to help us in the long run, especially as veterans. And then the gaming piece brings people together, like you said, and studies are now coming out really showing how isolation is killing, and how we do that. So how does the VFW play a part in that? Because we want to draw this new generation into the VFWs, right, into the posts and be involved in the local community. So aside from the gaming, what other things might the VFW post be looking at?
Well, we are embedded in our communities. Sometimes the VFW post is the only place for people to go to in a small town. And so we provide a place for them to go. And a lot of times the public is invited to that. The combat tested gaming, you know, the younger generation is, Chief was talking about, is critical, you know, to draw in those new members, because that's what they were raised on. That's what they know. They know the computer games, and that is their connection with their other battle buddies.
One of the other areas that the VFW has partnered with is a group called Irreverent Warriors. And they're silky hikes. It's a way for the younger generation to get together. There's a common bond there. They're of a similar age till I showed up, and I participated in, I didn't participate in the silky part because these aren't very pretty anymore. But it was a lot of fun. And when the VFW showed up to participate with them, they understood that they're wanted. We need them. You hit the nail on the head as far as our benefits and the challenges that we face to ensure that our benefits continue. You know, we were formed 125 years ago. Two premises: take care of the veteran, surviving spouse, and orphan children. And the second one was to advocate on their behalf in the halls of Congress. We still do that. And we do it in such a way as we bring validity to what Congress is hearing. We show up in numbers. We probably had the biggest response this year that we've had in a long time. We have our legislative committee, which are members of the VFW who are receive the information about legislation. We have an office in Washington, D.C. that is second to none when it comes to legislation. And the fact that we opened that up this year, it used to be called the Legislative Conference. And so it was kind of pigeonholed into this is this. And so there were some issues with DOD and that. And so the name was changed to the Washington Conference. I took that as an opportunity to bring the membership to Washington, D.C. So I didn't invite them, because if you invite a VFW member to something, they expect you to pay for it. And I wasn't going to pay for it. So, but we opened up that conference so that they could come and walk the halls of Congress with our legislative representatives who are going to go into meet with. We meet with every representative and every senator during that week that we're here to make sure that we bring them the message. And we delivered a very strong message to them because we're warriors. And one of the things that's happened to society, certainly it happened within the veterans of foreign wars. Over the last 25, 30 years, maybe even a little bit earlier than that, we lost who we were. We're warriors. We're different. There should not be any question in anyone's mind when they meet a member of the veterans of foreign wars. That individual raised its hand just like everybody else. But in addition to that, when they were called, they went.
Amen.
Knowing that when they went, they were placing themselves between the weapons of our enemies and these shores. And they did it willingly. This is an all-volunteer force who signed a contract. That contract said we'll maintain ourselves, we'll maintain our weapons, we'll go where you send us, we'll do what you ask us to do. And the government said, okay, if you'll do that, then we will take care of you.
Yes.
So the VA is basically our workman's comp. We don't have workman's comp. We have the VA, and I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is not being taken care of. That's unacceptable.
100%.
So that's the position that we have taken. It's the position that we've had, and it's not changing. And our membership is realizing that, and our membership has grown the last 3 years, and we're continuing that trend. I know that Carol is going to have a great year next year because it's picked up. There's an excitement among the members of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. One of those, and part of the reason for that excitement is come to Washington, D.C. This is your organization. You know, we're a membership-based organization. That's what we do. We're members. We're a fraternal organization, but not a fraternity. We're serious because we have serious issues. So our momentum is there, and we want to keep that going. We want to make sure that this nation knows that they can depend on the members of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. We're there in their communities, and our primary focus is on service, and that. So partner with us and let's get together.
Absolutely. So you told me you were shy before we came up here.
I am. I find it difficult to speak to strangers.
Okay.
And,
The red light.
I met you yesterday, so you're no stranger now. So.
There you go. There you go. So part of the audience that was watching earlier is probably a little scarred because someone decided to show off their silkies. So we all know what those are now,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. And I don't know if you put him up to that or not, but you know,
No, but I understand it wasn't a moon. It was only the silkies.
it was only the silkies. Absolutely, absolutely. So we're getting close to the end here, and I was going to ask a question along the lines of your vision for the future, and I do want to ask that to you, Carol. But before we get to that, I would like to know from you, Al, is there something that maybe you wish you could have done or impacted more during your tenure as Commander-in-Chief?
I have absolutely no regrets.
That is fantastic.
My life's mantra: believe in what you do what you believe in. They go together. And one of my primary focuses is on the membership. You take all my titles away. All three of us now share the same title. I'm a member. And that's a great feeling because while we may be the chiefs, well, I'm sitting here as the Commander-in-Chief today. That title goes away. And so the most important title is member because our members are in charge. Nothing happens in the VFW unless the membership on the floor of the convention approves it. If they say no, it's no. I am the chief, but I have the same number of votes that you do. I only got one. So, and that's the exciting thing for me. I want I want the membership to realize they are in charge. They need to come to the national convention, participate. We have members that when we go to a post meeting or we're sitting in a post home, they're griping, which is, that's SOP for service members. But, they have an opportunity to make the change. If you don't like it the way it is, you need to show up because your voice matters. So that's the message that I'm trying to get. And as we see the membership growing, as we see our attendance and all these things, I think we're getting the point to them. So I'm very proud of that part.
That's fantastic, and I love the way you're living your life and going out there. There's no regrets.
No.
You go right after it. So, Carol, as you get ready to step into the shoes here, do you have specific things that you'd like to accomplish? Is there a vision you're shooting for?
Oh, yes. I know historically I will be the first female, but I tell everyone I am a veteran first in this organization. That is the most important message I think any female wants to have, is that we're recognized as a veteran. I served from 1977 to 2013. I spent 36 years in the military. So I was 12 when I joined. So, but, going forward, it is about every veteran, and it is about taking care of every veteran. And the motto for my year is for veterans, by veterans, because that's what we are doing. We are still taking care of each other in the best way possible. Nobody else is going to do that for us. We have to be our own best advocate. And that's what legislatively, that is one of my very most biggest passions to accomplish during my year. The Richard Starr Act needs to pass this year. It's shameful that it's been on the docket since 2004. And Richard Starr has passed, his wife has passed, and we need to get that done for our fellow veterans. And I also want to brag about our service officers during my year. They are some of the hardest working people out there. They are part lawyer, they're part doctor, they're part handholder to make sure that the veterans get their disability benefits that they deserve. And of course, the POW MIA mission is very important to me also. So that is three main visions I have for my year, and I hope to accomplish all of them and make sure that we get the recognition and benefits we all deserve.
That's fantastic. And as a relatively new member, it's been a couple of years. I'm finally getting into a post, getting into a position and trying to contribute back to the organization. I'm excited about the future. This is a fantastic organization. It's been doing amazing things for years, for decades. And, we continue to move forward. And much to what you said, I've been saying it for years too, the veteran population is probably the one population in this country you don't want to anger, like you said, we're warriors, and you really don't want to anger us. Let's have some normal conversations here. But, okay. So before we close, big event coming up for both of you. You're going to have your change of command, if you will. So tell us how that's going to go. I understand it's going to be a first.
It is. It's coming from Al. It was his idea to do this since we are both Army. We're used to that transition. And he said, let's make this official on stage. And it was all him.
Yeah, well, thank you. But we're going to pass the colors. It'll go from me. I'll take the guide on, and I will pass it to Carol, indicating she's now in command. And so we're trying to get back to some again. I want us to remember, and I know we're going to run short of time, but so we started this year with an operations order. We've never done that.
Nice.
So when I was with my junior vice commanders, I said, you should consider this your alert order. And they went, what? What's an alert order?
Gave some people chills, I'm sure.
Yeah. So then I explained that. And then when they came as seniors, in between there, I gave them the warning order, which again was to tell them about what they needed to look for to prepare for the operation. And then I also said that D-Day, we actually had a D-Day. It was on August the 1st of last year. And normally when you go on an operation, you tend to go in the dark and I said, but now our D-Day is not going to start until noon because I'm retired. I don't like to get up early. So that's when we began the battle at noon on August the 1st. And it has been taken very seriously. The membership feels engaged. I pictured myself as I'm the bridge. I have a lot of stuff. I like it when people say, boy, Al taught me everything I know about the VFW. Well, the problem is I didn't teach you all I know. And that's the problem. I got to get this stuff out of here and get it to you. And that's what we're trying to do. And Carol is going to do a great job continuing with this. We are the commanders in chief. We get our direction from the bottom. Okay. And then we implement it. But knowing that we're representing 1.5 million members I take that very personally, and I know Carol does too.
That's absolutely wonderful. And what I took from that is you're going to be doing one-on-one calls with me to personally mentor me and share all that knowledge.
You betcha.
So that we can continue that on. I want to thank you both for sitting down with me today and talking a little bit about the VFW vision and transition and things like that. And I wish you the best of luck with your upcoming year. And thank you both for all you've done. Just an amazing organization. I love the future and where we're continuing to go with this. And Andrew, I want to let you know, you invited me to this. So with the VFW, if you invite somebody, apparently you got to pay. So you're going to be getting all my bills from this when I get home. But thank you all for tuning in today. I'm Shawn Welsh with VET S.O.S. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S. Lifeline.